I'm Ria Bia.
I'm Ranella.
And I'm Dandada.
And this is I Survived 2020,
a podcast
and lifestyle brand
dedicated to shining a light on stories of opportunity born out of adversity.
Recorded live at my pod studio in Pasadena, California. Keep us locked.
Okay.
Welcome back to another episode of I Survived 2020 podcast. I'm your host, Ria Bia, here with my co-host and husband, Mr. Marcus Dandada Johnson. How's it going today? I'm feeling your shirt.
Thank you. I'm feeling your shirt. You got your Hampton. Is that how you feeling today?
That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling.
You got your Hampton blue on.
I had to rock the blue and white today, especially because of our guest. I am so happy to have this guest here, but of course, I went to the real HBCU, the real HU.
We got to talk about this.
And he went to the other one. So we have a guest here today who has just been such an inspiration. He has such a great story about 2020 and just being a walking testimony. He's a DJ. He's a musician. He's a producer. He does it all. Let's welcome our guest, Mr. Jae
Murphy in the building.
Yay!
What's up,
I'm just
man?
looking at this shirt, and I feel like I walked into, an ambush.
A setup,
I don't, I know you're a pirate and everything like that, but I didn't think I was walking into.
You know what? When I saw what
that
she
kind
was
of
wearing
territory.
today, I was like, really? You gonna do it? Is that how we feeling? I said, I hope Jae Murphy's ready for this, because
giving me tailgate vibes. You giving me
it's been a minute,
homecoming vibes.
It's been a
you
minute.
giving me 100 days vibes.
At the end of the day, though, it's all love. Howard, Hampton, all family. The HBCU network is family as far as I know. So love and appreciate having you here, and just want to know what's been going on. How are you doing?
The only thing I like is just the hat, VA, because I'm from Virginia. So that's the only thing. Just that's the two letters. That's the only thing. But it is all love.
Actually, this hat was made by H3 Collection, which is owned by Devin Green, who also went to Hampton University and used to play for the Lakers. So shout outs to my boy Devin Green. Yeah.
Shout out Devin Green.
Yes, sir.
But Jae Murphy, what's up? What's been going on? I haven't seen you in so long.
It has been a minute. Everything has been well. I think a lot of people are just adjusting to almost having a sense of normalcy in our lifestyles and our careers and our everyday living. And I think that this was a good time to kind of come from under our caves, under our shells, and kind of knock off our bucket list of things that we always said we wanted to do. And now we actually really have the opportunity to really do it now that these floodgates are opening back in.
Right, now that they're opening. And, I know prior to COVID-19 and the pandemic, you had a lot going on, and we're going to get into that. But
so much.
You've always been such a ball of energy and just like so much fun to be around, and have always had that really positive energy.
Thank you.
I want to go back to like Jae Murphy, pre-Howard, young man. Tell us about the early beginnings of Jae Murphy. Where are you from?
I was born in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I was raised in Norfolk and Chesapeake, Virginia. I actually lived in Iwakuni, Japan on the Marine Corps Air Station from 1997 to 2001. My dad is a former lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy before he retired, and now he's a full-time pastor at Mount Gilead Missionary Baptist Church in Norfolk, Virginia. So yeah, I got the culture early.
Right.
I got the culture early, but I'm a Virginia boy at heart for sure.
Got you. So I'm wondering why you didn't go to Hampton then.
Because it was in my backyard.
Yeah, it was like right there.
It was. I had to get out. I had to get out the Commonwealth and spread my wings.
So where does this musical inspiration comes from? You just are so amazing. I didn't even know that you sang. I know you DJ, you produce, you do everything. You're a singer, you have jingles, you do everything. Where does that come from?
First and foremost, God.
Yeah, for sure.
Second of all, my parents. Both of my parents can sing. My dad can really go. He's one of those pastors that can really go crazy with his sermon, but he can really sing at the same time.
You were raised in the church, basically.
I was raised in the church. Funny story. My mother used to tell me all the time that when she was pregnant with me, that if it was offering during a church service, that when it was like loud music playing, like I would move, I would punch and kick, I would react to music. Really? Anytime she was around loud music, I would move. My nickname when I was in her womb was called Bounce, like literally.
So you had it early on.
And so I had a drum set when I was like 3 or 4. Like they just let me just whatever I was doing. But I in middle school I was playing the drums for my father's church at one point. And then I had hoop dreams. Then I had to decide what I was gonna do. Was I gonna be a full-time drummer and get paid, or did I want to just, be that guy on the basketball team in middle school and high school?
Right.
I was that guy on the basketball team in middle school and high school. But music has always been a part of me. It's so funny now looking at everything that I've accomplished in the realm of music, especially as a DJ. I was one of those guys in middle school and high school that always had a mix CD every other week.
You were putting out mix
I was,
CDs.
like I will always, I would want to always have the newest songs from Kazaa. What was it? Napster.
Yeah, it was like Napster.
All this, you know about it. You a pirate. You know about legal downloads. You know about it. I really like. That was my thing. Like to always have the newest music.
So is it safe to say that you were the man as far as DJing Howard parties? Were you the man to go to?
So the thing, I was the man to go to.
Yeah,
however, this is the story that people are actually starting to learn and realize that at Howard I wasn't DJing.
Word.
At Howard I wasn't DJing. At Howard I was a host.
You know
Jae
what?
Murphy,
I
the
have
host.
seen
I was a
some.
host.
I saw some video footage. I don't know if it was while you were still there or after you had graduated and come
That was
back.
I know what you're talking about. That was my last homecoming when I brought up my mom.
And your mom came out on
That
the
was my
stage and
final-
you had
that
the
was my-
whole crowd.
That was Howard University Homecoming Yard Fest.
So you were a host.
I was a host. I have a degree in broadcast journalism.
Got you.
So I have a background in radio as well.
Okay.
I used to intern and work at Radio 193.9 WKYS
Nice.
in Washington, D.C.
Nice.
So all of this, I'm still in the same field in a sense. However, yeah, I am a maestro. Like I'm a master of ceremonies. Like that's where I came from. And so when I was on campus, I didn't declare my major until my sophomore year. And so when I was on collegeboard.com trying to figure it out, parents paid this money for me to go to this illustrious Howard University, I really my initial major was computer science. I took my first coding class. It was okay, but I was just like, okay, do I want to do this for the rest of my college career?
You weren't passionate about it.
I wasn't passionate about it. I just thought about the engineering money on the other side of the degree. And so, when I came across broadcast journalism, I was like, okay, cool. This is something that I feel like I could, really hone in on and, learn and appreciate more than computer science. And so when I declared my major, I told myself I wanted to be comfortable on the mic. I wanted to be comfortable in front of the camera. I wanted to, I wanted not just within my curriculum, but I wanted to go an extra step. And so it all started at a Howard house party. A good friend of mine, a good colleague of mine, his name is Will Thomas, DJ Big Will. We were at his house party, and so at the time we weren't 21 years old. We were just when you're a freshman, sophomore, all you can do is do the house party scene until you're old enough to get in the club, unless you had a play to get in the club. But one time I just grabbed the mic, and so I'm in this party. It's like 2 a.m. The beautiful thing about, going to HBCUs, you're going to school with people from New York, New Jersey, Texas, California, Seattle, Florida. So, and you know them because you're matriculating through your tenure with them. You're going to class with them. You're going to the CAF with them. So I can point out who is from where and what, and I just start shouting out where they from. Then I knew what dorms they was at. I started shouting out their dorms. Everybody was but that was before we were saying lit. But it was lit.
You know what's really cool about being at HBCU, because I'm originally from LA and I went all the way to Virginia, is the exposure to all the different types of music. I grew up around the West Coast sound, West Coast hip hop, and then going to Hampton, it's like I had best friends from New York. I got introduced to go-go music, DC, and all this, and it was just it just all came together.
One
at these
mesh.
parties that you're talking about. So even to be like a DJ or a host in that type of setting, you kind of really have to read the crowd and know music, because you have folks, like you said, from all over the country that you're trying to cater
Most
to.
definitely. So when I started that house party, it was just like, that was like the seed being planted of what was to come, and I didn't know what was coming. And so that year, I started literally hosting things on campus. I started hosting Midnight Madness. I hosted like a comedy and talent showcase, dance competitions, step competitions. Like I became like the student leader on campus that was always grabbing the mic. Where if it was a pep rally, that was like, and it was like, oh, is Jay there? All right, cool. Like, like it was, I was the guy screaming HU in the crowd, screaming, freshman week, when we do the prep rally for the freshmen on the field and the parents there, the pinning ceremony, I had the mic in my hand.
Oh, so
like I was walking into my car and I was getting my dad's blessing, with this mic in my hand. And so fast forward a little bit, I pledged Kappa Alpha Psi in the spring of 2010. A few of my line brothers are like, yo, you should just learn how to DJ. You should just learn how to DJ, just be a one-man show. Yeah. In the back of my mind, I'm like nah, I'm cool. I got the mic. I got the ladies on me. I got my Kappa letters. I got my cane now. Like
DJ.
That's too much. I like to walk around and dance on you, like let me shimmy on you.
If you're DJ, you can't party.
But in the booth. I found myself telling DJs what to play, but it was my show because I had the mic.
Right.
I let them talk. And then I'm in college. I wasn't finna pay $2 for no DJ equipment. I was like, no, I'm cool. On the low, I started learning how to DJ.
So you weren't telling anybody.
I ain't tell a soul. I ain't tell nobody. I had a key card to 93.9. I was shadowing Quicksilver, DJ Money. People were showing me different techniques. I ended up buying real turntables, not these CDJs.
You spent more than $200.
Yeah, definitely. Not these little CD digital turntables that we use.
Yeah, you have
real techniques, real vinyl, real needles, real slip mats.
Pause. Did you hear what he said? Real vinyl.
Real vinyl.
You don't hear about that anymore.
That's how
people don't even know what that is. So to have learned using real vinyl and having the experience of carrying crates.
That was work.
That was real.
They wanted me
work.
to learn the real thing. They wanted me to learn. They like, if we're gonna teach you, you gotta learn. You gotta learn the real way.
Yeah.
And so, over time, it became like my own little video game. I had to collect music, but I was already doing that.
Right.
So, I didn't really physically DJ, until the fall of 2012. So I graduated in May 2012, and a real defining moment of my career that bled into before I moved to LA was when I was hosting the BET Music Matters tour with Kendrick Lamar. This was his final tour before Good Kid, Mad City came out. It was Absol was on it, J-Rock was on it, Stally,
I remember that
Fly Union, I was fresh out of Howard, and they were still looking for a host for 106 Park. So I'm like, well, I'm on BT Music Matters tour. Let me try to But I got the experience of touring early. And so when we got to, shout out Omar Grant, that worked at BT. It's two Omar Grants, one at Rock Nation.
Right.
Shout out Omar Grant at Rock Nation. That's my guy too. We got to Denver or somewhere over here, and they didn't have a house DJ. Omar like, yo, Murph, you could DJ some tunes tonight? We ain't got no house DJ. I'm like, yeah, I got you. In the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, it's about to go down. I ain't never did this before.
This is my chance. This is my chance to shine.
So in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, cool. If I mess up, I just host. I know how to talk to these people. I know how to kill time, shout out people. Who's a Cancer? Who's a Taurus? Like I know how to talk to people. I didn't mess up.
Dope.
I got put on the spot.
What was that like to just be put on the spot. You've never done it before.
You gotta be ready.
Yeah, you were,
And
but you seem like you were ready. You were waiting for that moment.
I was. You got to be ready, and I think the technique of being able to host and being a master of ceremonies, you got to be ready for when things mess up.
Yeah,
you got to be ready for technical difficulties. You got to be able to cover things up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to just be able to move quick.
Right.
And so, coming into DJing, it's the same thing. If anything malfunctions, you got to be able to.
You got to know how to work the crowd.
Quick.
Yep.
Quick. No. Hey.
You gotta be quick on your toes.
You know you do, and you have to know how to control the crowd.
Right.
Like the DJ is the party.
Yep.
For sure.
So if you have a DJ that isn't reading the crowd correctly, it could mess up.
It's gonna kill
the entire
the vibe
party.
of the whole party.
So
Most
at
definitely.
what point did you make it to LA? So you were in Denver, you said.
Yeah, that was just a tour stop. So, I ended up, the last show that I did on that tour was actually at the Nokia Theater. And that was
Club Nokia.
Yeah, that's when it was Nokia. It wasn't the
Club
Novo.
Nokia.
It wasn't the Novo. It was
I
Nokia.
think I was at that show.
It was 2 shows.
Yeah.
He brought out T.I. on one of the shows. He brought out mad people.
I actually worked that show. I remember when it got confirmed, and I remember when you came to the show. You don't even remember that. You came to the box office, and I was in there. You were like trying to get in.
I was probably trying to get my credentials.
No, yeah, you needed your credentials to get backstage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I had a gray shirt on, and I had a little character that said Jae Murphy, or at Jae Murphy. I remember.
This is another full circle moment.
Yeah.
That we always
It
talk
is.
about.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So I didn't. So a good friend of mine, Video Chris Latouche. Chris, at the same time that I was touring with Kendrick, Chris was actually interning. He was like on a trial run to be Diddy's official videographer. So he was doing worldwide stuff. Wherever Diddy was, he was there filming Diddy, doing edits, turnarounds, all of that stuff. So we ended up running into each other at Howard Homecoming, October 2012. And I literally finished that show was in October.
Yep.
So literally that following week, I get back to DC. It's homecoming. So I'm booked up. I'm fresh off tour. It's my first alumni homecoming. That's when Drake came out. When 2 Chainz brought Drake out. Like, yeah, it was up. 2012 was crazy.
He showed up to homecoming, the man.
He had been touring.
Fresh off tour.
You
Graduated,
had been
went on tour. Kendrick came back. What's up? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? So
you were feeling yourself. I'm already knowing.
Yeah, it was such a crazy high, but I was feeling myself real, but a part of me, I didn't know what I was doing next. So when you go to homecoming, so what you got going on next?
Right.
Nigga,
But you had a lot to talk about.
Nigga, I don't
You
know.
had a lot to talk about, but you didn't know what the next step was going to be.
I didn't know. I didn't just tell people I didn't know, but I really didn't know. So me and my good friend Video Chris, we ran into each other, and he's saying, "Yo, I think I'm done with my 4-month run with Puff. I'm going back to Miami. Let's just get a condo out there, and let's just take over Miami the same way you did DC." And I was like, "Cool." We literally on Craigslist that day. I'm in my hotel room, like I'm typing blah 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 blah. The same day we looking at condos, he gets a call from Neil, Diddy's former assistant.
Neil Dominic.
Yep. Neil says, "Yo, I told you I got you. You moving to LA to start Revolt TV with Puff. We're going to send you out there, blase, 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 blase." So that happened for Chris. So Chris gets to LA in November, and he's like, "Yo, I'm having dinner with Dr. Dre for real."
He's like, "This LA."
He's like, "Yo, if you don't get
it's different out here.
You don't get that LA, bro. I don't know what, bro. Figure it out. Figure it out."
Get to LA.
Prayed about it, figured it out. Took all my stuff from DC back home in Virginia at my people's house in Chesapeake, and then I visited him. He was staying at La Montrose in West Hollywood. I stayed out here for like 3 days. So my purpose of coming to LA was to be on Revolt TV.
Right.
Gotcha.
To be a media correspondent. It's right in my field. I just got a degree. Like I was ready, you know, and I was like in the final rounds of being picked. I was like in the last 15, 20 people of being picked. And so at that time, Chris was working there. And when I came out, I just met everybody. I was able to actually meet everybody. I didn't move to LA until December 11th, 2012. That is my date of inception of California.
Got you.
So
you moved to LA. You're a DJ. You got the experience. You've been on tour. You start doing clubs in LA. How did you get introduced to the LA nightlife?
How did you get into the club world?
I got here.
Because I know, let me say this. I know for DJs in Hollywood, it's
about
very
it.
political. It's
Talk
hard because
about it, man.
Most of the promoters have their go-to DJs that's been DJing at their clubs forever.
Shows.
They do every one of their events.
Yeah.
It's only, back then it was only like maybe 5 or 6 that DJ'd every club.
Definitely.
And I know how hard it is for new DJs to kind of get brought into the scene. So
definitely.
How did you get in the scene?
This story gives me chills every time, and I'm just so thankful for how, God aligned it. I got to LA December 11th, 2020. One of the first clubs that I went to was Playhouse, I believe. Orator was DJing, but we got there too late. Nope. The first club I went to was Supper Club.
Yep, Supper Club.
And DJ Tay James was DJing. Hampton alum.
Yep.
Alpha. Justin Bieber's DJ.
Yep.
His birthday is today. I was on FaceTime with him
Oh,
earlier.
wow. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tay. I land. One of his boys get me from the airport, I believe. No, they called me to make sure I was straight. He said, I'm at Supper Club tonight. He said, yo, just come through with Blake. You good? I got a table. Like, I'm gonna welcome you to LA. First time going to Supper Club, I'm like, oh, this
Supper Club used to be.
You were like, what is this?
What?
Supper Club used to be that spot that everybody would be at.
It's sidebar. It's a rumor going on that they're trying to reopen Supper Club.
Hey.
But I don't know if it's going to be at that same place.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Supper Club party, but it's not going to be what it was.
It used to be Supper Club Tuesdays. That was the marquee night. So I think they're doing that same Supper Club Tuesday somewhere else. We don't know.
It ain't going to be the same. Make a long story short, I get real intoxicated.
Hey, you fresh to LA.
That was your welcome to LA party.
I get real intoxicated. I'm just like, yo, this is where I live now? This is crazy.
And you like, this is a Tuesday night?
It's a Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
You're like, what is going on?
So,
yeah.
You know me, I'm always connecting a dot in any room I'm in. I'm always figuring out, I'm trying to figure out, all right, how can I host here at least? If I can't DJ, how can I, who's who? Somebody tells me that Johnny Cruz.
Shout outs to Johnny Cruz. Wasn't I just talking about Johnny Cruz yesterday?
That was this morning.
Okay, I was literally.
Shout out to Johnny Cruz. He is a Hollywood legend. He started out doing college parties. He went to CSUN and he started doing college parties way back in the day. And to this day, he's still doing his club thing, still the man. He's a sports agent. So shout out to Johnny Cruz. That's my
shout out to Johnny Cruz.
And he put a lot of promoters and DJs on.
Yeah, very true.
Wow. Johnny Cruz is the foundation and root of Jae Murphy's DJ career. A lot of people don't. Yeah. And I will tell this story until I can't no more. Johnny Cruz is the soil to my growth of my entire existence and career being in this market in Los Angeles. I met Johnny Cruz. I pulled up on him. I introduced myself. The funny thing is, Johnny Cruz is a noob.
Yep.
I didn't know that for the first X amount of years of knowing him. I didn't even know. I think I saw him post a picture one day and I was like, I didn't know that. So this is a testament of how strong these networks are as far as like the HBCU network, the Divine Nine network. As far
serious.
As it is.
I'm
so
a walking
strong.
testimony. It's serious.
It is strong. So like you said, HBCU fam welcomed you, had your welcome to LA party, and then your fraternity brother.
Then he's a partner on Supper Club Tuesdays. I pull up on Johnny. I'm like, yo, I literally just moved out here. I just finished touring with Kendrick Lamar. I DJ, I host. I just graduated from Howard. He said, oh, you went to Howard? He like, you players at Howard, right? I was like, yeah. He said, what's the name of the line from Spring '92?
Woo!
Put you on the spot.
So I'm intoxicated. Like I said,
You wasn't expecting that.
in my chapter, Bloody Z, you don't test us. Like we just like, all right, we can trade. We could just bring the wood out.
Right.
We could just like, what's up? That's how I was made.
Yeah.
That's how I was made.
Mm-hmm.
A part of my character, I'm very humble, and I did realize that I was an entire different turf. I didn't have a big brother that I could call and be like, yeah, I'm finna throw hands with homie in the back until it's done with.
Right.
I looked at him, and I looked at him as I said, 20 convicted felons.
Woo!
He took my number. He took me out to lunch like 2 days. He was like, yo, I got so much love for your chapter. He said, your older brothers from 92, a few of them lived in L.A. So after they pledged at Howard in 92 and they came home, they met me and my line brothers. I'm pledged at UCLA, CSUN, Spring 92.
This story is giving me chills.
I
right now.
have chills
It's
on my
giving
legs as
me
I'm telling you.
chills.
He was like, yo, he said, Howard Homecoming 93, your chapter, flew out me and 4 or 5 of my line brothers to Howard Homecoming.
Best time
we
he
didn't
ever
spend
had.
a dime.
Wow.
He said, we had endless food, endless liquor. We were around ladies the entire time. We didn't pay for a thing. He said that was the first time I saw Wu-Tang Clan, and I connected with them, and I brought Wu-Tang Clan to L.A. in '94.
If nobody has ever been to a Howard University homecoming, that experience,
That era,
Johnny
I wish I would have
Cruz
saw that era.
that they had when they got flown out. That has something to do with the reason why you connected with him, because I'm sure he had the best time.
He said that.
ever.
He said that was my most memorable
Sure.
college experience in my life. He said, you players that Z, at Bloody Z, you from Howard, I got you. You're opening up at Supper Club next Tuesday.
Which was huge.
And that was Christmas night.
Wow.
I got to LA on the 11th.
And
DJ'd on the
14 days later.
25th on Christmas night, opened up for Bad.
That's huge.
I told Bad this story literally 2 weeks ago. He
He
said,
was tripping.
for real? I was like, that's how it happened.
Wow.
And from there, so you were in the club circuit now, because I know you killed it that opening night.
I did. I did.
You got into the Hollywood club circuit, which doesn't really happen, and especially doesn't happen that quickly. Where along your journey did you start connecting with artists and DJing with artists?
So the thing was, what allowed me to be able to maneuver in the Hollywood nightlife market was that I was a good DJ, but you know that this DJ sport is so oversaturated with, you know, in-house DJs for every promo team.
Right.
And so it got to the point where people, I don't want to say I was being undervalued, but people wanted to utilize me, but it was just too hectic. Like, yo, LA was on fire. Yo, let's talk about, it was like 5 parties in one night, and they were all packed.
They were all packed.
Eden,
Yep.
Block, Playhouse, Supper Club, Roxbury,
Everything.
stuff downtown. Like
you were out
every,
there.
like
And I have
people
to say-
were really outside. Like it was
Yeah.
like, it's not just 3 parties.
Yeah.
It was like
No.
6 parties going on in one night.
And I'm going to say right now, we had the hottest parties and the hottest clubs
Y'all did.
during that era.
That era undoubtedly
hottest
was
clubs.
the prime of LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The prime of
And
LA.
I can say this, the difference between when Jay Murphy came in and when he did our parties, the difference was he actually MC'd. 'Cause
So
a lot of
that's exactly. Let me cut you off.
Hollywood
That's
DJs did not MC
exactly
back
what I
then.
was about to get to. I
They
cut
did not
myself
MC.
off being hyped thinking about how lit LA was. Now June 15th, LA about to open back up. I'm hoping we can see it again.
Right.
But that's what kept me relevant and kept me booked. I would open for headliners, but I would be booked to stay to host the entire
One
party.
man show.
And nobody else was doing
Right.
it. Nobody else. Like I want to say that I really started a trend
Of
in this
MCing.
market for DJs to be more vocal and more present with the microphone as they DJ. You got dope hosts, Brandon King, Sincere Show, other people, and I see other young cats doing their thing too, and I respect it. But the jungle I came from, you got to know how to talk on that mic, yo.
And I think
You gotta talk
that's the East
No,
Coast.
it's definitely more of like an East Coast.
For sure. You gotta get down.
It's like hyping the party.
Right.
That was like a big difference for me going to Hampton and like going to those parties and then coming back here because there was always somebody on the mic like hyping up the crowd. And then when I came back here, it was just like the DJ. You know,
if you think about it, that is just the emceeing. This is one of the pillars of hip hop.
It's hip hop. Hip hop.
Right.
DJs weren't not talking when they like what they was repping their hood and everything.
LA clubs were not used to that. They weren't used to because LA clubs would have a DJ. They would pay somebody to DJ and to MC. But then when Jae Murphy came along, it's like, why are we going to hire an MC? When
they just utilize
turning it up on the turntables and on the mic.
Right,
So
right.
You would have your celebrity DJs do it though.
Yeah.
Drama, your cannons,
right.
You know, anybody that would come into town. But locally, that really didn't exist,
right?
And that's what set me apart from a lot of DJs out here.
So is that what led to you DJing for all these? We know you DJed for so many different celebrities. You've done events with all types of.
When I first got to LA, I was still going back and forth to DC. Mm-hmm. I was still going back to the East Coast to host step shows at like ODU or do stuff at Norfolk State or VCU. Like I was still, you know, keeping my presence relevant. Right. Or I would go back to spring break, and when my chapter we would throw like a Kappa party on the beat, like, you know, I would still go back. I still had my hand in a lot of things. So one time I came back from being gone for like a month. I was booked all over the place on the East Coast. I was like, all right, let me get back. All right. I'm literally walking through the door. Literally sat down. Guess who called my phone?
Who?
Pun.
Wow.
Punk called my phone and like, yo, so you ever DJ for an artist before? He's like, so what?
Shout out to Pun.
Shout out to Pun, man. Shout out to PU. He's like, so what other clubs you do out here? He just grilling me. I'm like, what's up? He's like, look, man, I'm gonna just look, yo, we finna start this separation tour. We got like 8 days. Probably the DJ. Can you just come to the studio tomorrow and we just kind of figure it out? I'm like, all right, cool. So I was supposed to try out, but it just turned into rehearsal.
You didn't even need to audition.
They knew they wanted you.
Yeah.
So you landed that gig
the next day. Big shout out to Diamond Lane.
Diamond Lane,
Problem, Bird, Luck, all of them. They're still a good family. Rest in peace, Fat T. Fat T just passed away. He was a great guy. All those guys. I got a lot of love for all those guys. So I'm doing this tour with Problem. Problem had openers, but when Problem did his set at the end, that's when he brought out Eric Bellinger. Because I Don't Want Her was hot. It was sizzling. And this was Eric's moment.
Yeah.
Transition from songwriter to artist. So that led into the opportunity of when Eric started having shows, Neiman was like, yo,
come with us. And he was popping.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of shows.
Eric, that was such a great record for both of them.
Yeah.
At the same time.
We took that record everywhere.
Everywhere. So I was DJing for Problem and Eric at the same time. That opportunity put me in front of French Montana. I did a few shows with French Montana. I did stuff with the game. And I also do want to say, Toxic Day Party gave me a lot of leverage. That was another
historic. A lot of people were coming out.
All the artists would be there.
Yeah.
All the artists would be there. I was an opener. I was doing a middle set, but I was there. I was hosting the whole time.
Right. So you had all day exposure just being at that event.
I'll do that, and then I would have to do Playhouse that night with Johnny Cruz.
That's
so
LA was on
that
fire.
LA was on fire, bro.
Let me tell you
we can't make this up.
For people listening, Toxic Day Party it went on for like what, maybe 4 years?
3-4 years. Shout out LA's finest, Braden and them. Braden, Cam. Yep. They went to Hampton.
Yeah, Hampton family.
Hampton had a little wave.
It was. I think that was the beginning of the day party vibe in LA.
It was
the craziest day party. Everybody would be in the building. So if you were DJing on that, it was
correct. you were like, okay, cool. Yeah.
So now you're starting to get on all these artists' radar. So we actually ran into you at the airport, hopping on a flight to
that was
Dubai.
So that was so random.
So random.
Most random thing.
Yeah.
Marcus, it was always on his bucket list to go to Dubai, and we actually one day there's an airline, Emirates Airline had a buy one flight get the second one free, and I remember calling him like, "Yo, they have these flights. Do you want to go?" He was like, "Book it." So we booked it. So it was really just like on a whim.
It wasn't
That's crazy.
something
That was planned out. We were just
Yeah.
like, let's go. So we get to the airport, get on the flight, long flight. And who's on the plane with us?
Jae Murphy.
Jae Murphy.
And that was a memorable flight because
of you.
Yeah, because he pulled out his laptop, like I think before we even took off.
What I was doing?
And he was everything that you just told us about was documented at Howard. Everything was documented.
Yeah.
You showed us every video of you hosting and you doing your thing
and
at
new
Howard.
music, and it was
music.
I mean, that's a long flight, and that's the most entertaining flight I've ever been on because you were on there. So I was mad when we came back.
It was a horrible
and
flight.
you weren't on our flight. I was like, dang, where's Jae Murphy?
So we run into you on the flight to Dubai. It's a very entertaining flight. We have fun.
16 hours.
Yeah, 16 hours. We get to Dubai. You invite us to the show with Jason Derulo.
Right.
The show is crazy. He's got people going crazy in Dubai for him. I didn't even know he had a fan base like that in Dubai.
Huge fan base.
This is pre-COVID because we could get into that.
Yeah.
Jason's market outside of America is astonishing.
Yeah.
Like in all caps. You would be surprised the age levels. It's not just the kids. Like Jason.
When you say international superstar,
he is
an international superstar.
And it's to the point where when people bring this up in conversation, I don't even try to fight for y'all to understand because I lived the life.
Right.
I don't got to prove nothing to y'all. Like I've seen it with these eyes.
I think he's underrated. Like in the States, people go like Jason Derulo. He's popular, but he is. First of all, he's.
I mean, now he's out of here off the TikTok way. He's gone.
Oh yeah.
The next story is we're doing it's
when
big
you
arenas.
make it to Sesame Street, that's how you know you because he's on. When we're watching Sesame Street with our 2-year-old son, you'll see
Elmo.
Jason Derulo with Elmo. I'm like,
That's
dang,
when you
he's
made it. That's when you did.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So you go on tour with Jason Derulo. He takes you around the world. I don't think there's a continent or country that you didn't touch while you were touring with him.
Yeah, I've DJed on every continent except Antarctica.
Except Antarctica.
That's
Did you hear
crazy.
that? That's crazy.
That's my elevator pitch. You feel me?
But how many DJs could say that? Especially club DJs, especially somebody that didn't even start DJing out of wanting to DJ, just kind of fell into it. How many people could say DJing has taken them around the world multiple times?
It's a blessing. Linking with Jason was also an interesting story. I was actually in rehearsal with Problem for one of his 420 shows, and I got a DM from his music director, Chucky G. And he had just relocated from Miami to LA and he was looking for a new DJ. And I had to audition at Third Encore Studios in Burbank. And so I had my boy Chris Roy call Chucky just to see if it was legit. And, that was like on a Wednesday. I had to audition on a Sunday. And I was one of the last DJs to go. And I gave him my resume. And I didn't see him. I saw his tour manager, Henry DeSources. I got, at the time who I was dating, we literally I got back to my crib and I just passed out because I was prepared. I went to church that day and I was preparing for it that whole day. And then as I fell asleep, they was calling me and I missed the call. And then I woke up, they called me again. It was like, you got rehearsal today at 5:00.
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's how you got the gig with Jason Derulo.
Literally.
And how long did you tour with him?
I've been touring with Jason Derulo since
2000.
my first show. Wow. We've hit 5 years.
5 years.
May 8th, the weekend of Mother's Day in 2015 was my first show. I did a show with him like in San Diego. It was like a radio show. Wow. But then after that, a week after that, I did my first overseas run with him. We did that's when Want to Want Me was hot.
Yeah.
He was doing a promo run. We did like 6 countries in a week. We were like literally country hopping.
You've seen the world while DJing, and that's so crazy to me. Like it's dope. But you toured for 5 years straight, right?
5 years.
And you toured internationally
5 years.
for 5 years straight. Got all those passport stamps.
I got 2 passports.
Jeez. 2020 hits. COVID. Touring is it comes to a complete halt.
I want to say something about touring. I want to share it while I'm on you guys' platform. And you know, a lot of people don't really realize it, but when you're living on the road, there are a lot of things that transpire in your personal life, and there are a lot of things that are just happening. On the basis of being black, and Jason being a pop artist on the world stage in front of everybody. That's just, let's keep it real, like in front of a white audience. You know, it's a surreal moment because his entire band is black. You know, it's a surreal moment for us to be on stage, looking at a sea of white faces, praising Jason Derulo. I create my own meet and greets when I get off stage. I'm kissing babies. I'm signing hats. People trying to take my bandanas or whatever. I'm like, you know, it's crazy. And so, you know, it just sometimes it affects me to know that the struggle of the African American race is still a huge thing in our country while being praised in another country. Right. And if you didn't see me on stage, you wouldn't be as welcoming and as open arms as, you know, you would be if you saw me with my dreads in your local Zara. Right. Wherever we are, Paris, London, like wherever. And things like that sit with me. And I had I actually had an emotional moment with the restaurant owner. I was intoxicated again. I was booked in Milan. This is what I was booked in Milan without doing a tour show with Jason. And you know, I was talking to this restaurant owner. I'm literally in the middle of Milan, like 3 a.m. And the promoter that had me booked out there, he told the restaurant owner who I was, and I was from Los Angeles, and I DJ for Jason. And he, cause like the cool thing about being overseas, they know you're not from there. They can just look you in your eye. They can see the texture. Sure. And then once you say something, you know what I'm saying? So he was so intrigued with me. And so we had a conversation, and he said he was so bold, but it was like it was his establishment. He's like, yo, he's like, I don't really like black people. I don't really like black people, but you're different. I mean, I honestly, I don't have black friends, so I don't know. I just see things on TV. I don't know, like, you know. And I was just taking it for what it was. Right, I'm in his establishment. He gave me all the food for free. I ordered a lot of stuff. I was
as you should.
You know. So, you know, he said, I feel so bad for black people in America. We're having an honest conversation. I don't even know him from. I don't know him from. I don't even have his number. I don't think I may have tried to get his number. I don't know. But he said, I feel so bad for black people in America. He said, you know why? He said, because from here, from our side, when you had a black president, all we saw was black boys being killed. That brought tears in my eyes. To hear an Italian man in his 60s tell me what America looked like for my race.
From his perspective.
That blew my mind. I was messed up for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
I was shook. I was like.
So did it change your perspective of, you know?
I already shared. I want to say it opened my perspective.
Yeah, because you're when you're a celebrity and you're touring, you're kind of in this bubble. You don't realize it.
Well, you said something interesting. You are in a bubble because, like you said, you're on stage as a black artist, as a black DJ, and you look out in the crowd and nobody looks like you, but they're praising you. And if they saw you in a different setting, would you get that same sort of love? A friend of ours, Gavin Matthew, he made a really popular sweatshirt that said, love black people like you love black music. And that really stood out to me because you're absolutely right. And you being who you are and being with who you've been with and touring with celebrities and being a celebrity yourself, like you've been on both sides of it. So you've experienced the love and the praise, but you've also experienced like the racism and the disrespect.
Yeah, I have. We deal with racism in certain airports. Yeah, it's real. It's definitely real. So, and to really be rooted from real black culture. And I'm not when I say real black culture, I don't want that to be desensitized as somebody that's black that feels like they don't have real black culture. But I went to HBCU. Right. I was groomed to be on this, in this industry from a nurturing institution. So it's just like I had that experience, and that's not to shade or shame anybody that didn't, but just that's my route before I got into where I am now. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because it just landed on my spirit as we were talking about touring. That's something that I always want to share with people as far as my personal experience of literally traveling the world. Like, it looks lit on Instagram. Right. Get your likes, get your clout up, but just know it's like it's real. It's real. It's real to see. It's a full circle moment to see the beauty of the earth, but to still see
the ugly in it at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a real thing on a global scale. But yeah, let's get into this halt.
So you're touring. You tour for 5 years straight,
killing
it internationally. 2 passports, stamps full. Yeah. COVID hits, touring stops. How do you navigate through that? Like, what is going through your mind? Obviously, we are told 2 weeks. Were you on tour at the time when you were? Where were you at?
Let's track back. Track back all the way. Okay, cool. Birthday, did the Jae Murphy and Friends, lit. Grammy weekend, lit. I go to All Star, right? Got like 5 events out there in Chicago. I leave from Chicago to go to Dubai to meet Jason out there. We got shows in Dubai, Milan, Germany. But like we got like 3 shows. So like it was a full run. When I get over there, BBC News, the coronavirus is spreading. There's cases in Italy. There's cases in 1 case in London. There's cases. BBC News. Every day, cases are just rising and rising.
And you're out of town,
and I'm. And the crazy thing is, I got so sick while I was on this run. I ended up going to see a doctor, and I didn't have COVID. I just had a sinus infection. But it felt like I was shook. But I was prayed up. Like, I'm a G when it comes to being sick. Like, and that's another thing. I've lived this tour life before. So you getting sick is normal. You just got to be able to bounce back, tee it up. Don't turn up. Just chill out on the liquor or whatever. Like, so this whole time I'm doing shows and I got fevers. I'm like, yo, what's going on? We had like 3 shows left, and I was just getting better. I was slowly getting better. We had like 3 shows left, and we left. We left. Home. We didn't want to get stuck behind that border.
Right.
Smart.
So I get back. Smart. I get back. I recover. I get some antibiotics and stuff. I recover. I get back on February 27th. I don't DJ. I DJ probably a week after I bounce back. But the last time that I DJ was March 14th. Guess where I DJ'd at?
What was that?
Playhouse.
That's crazy.
I'm the last DJ that DJ'd at Playhouse.
Playhouse is no more.
I am the last DJ that.
And that was
ironically,
right when the stay-at-home order.
It happened. Things started closing after that week. Right. But that following week, I was supposed to do something with LeJarden at LeJarden with Johnny Cruz. That's when he shut it down. That's when the whole city shut down on March 20th. So
that's when everybody started working from home.
Everybody started working from home on March 16th.
Yep.
So now everything. You can't DJ at club. You can't DJ locally. You can't tour. You can't move around like you like to. What did you do with that newfound downtime? Were you one of the DJs who was getting on Instagram
Virtual.
Live and DJ
Yeah.
Live, or were you just quiet?
So my manager Luke, he was like, all right, if you gonna go live, we gotta make it a real thing. Like we just can't just hop on. It's just oversaturated. Everybody doing it. Everybody
Everybody's
bored. Like it's just like. So we wanted to create an HBCU house party,
Nice.
and we did. And we had a lot of people tap in. We hit. It and that's the thing. It was so messed up because the Instagram wasn't ready for that.
Right.
No.
The bandwidth, like I had so many people trying to call in. Like Karen was trying to call in. Terrence called in. Terrence J called. Like, and then with the whole clause with playing a song longer than 90 seconds, it was just a lot going on.
Yeah, I think Instagram learned a lot
Yeah,
during
they
the
did.
pandemic because you can see the changes they've made with like how many people you can invite to be on live with you and how long you can be on. So
And it was very technical for DJs and other creatives because you had to get the iRig and you had to attach the adapter to go to this part of the phone. And so once you had that iRig, that was an interface that connected your music source to your phone so you could hear the music clearly and not just through these speakers on the bottom of your
Right.
phone. That iRig was on back order.
So you couldn't even get it.
you couldn't even do
Wow.
Pandemic.
it.
Pandemic killed everything.
Pandemic is still going on,
It's
but
still
you're
there.
tapping into creativity and
Definitely.
technology. That was March, April, May hits. May of 2020. Tell us about
We
what
here.
I
It's a
like
year.
to call about.
It's been a
It's
year.
a year.
It's a year. I call it the miracle on the 110. Tell us about what happened. You got in a really bad, near fatal car accident. 4-car accident on the 110
Yeah.
and walked out unscathed. You walked out of the car.
First of all, that part of the 110, and we drive it a lot because we spend a lot of time in Pasadena and we live in LA, so we're on that 110. That little section of the 110,
It's scary, bro.
I think I pray every time I
Hey,
get
yeah.
there.
It's scary.
Because you got people,
It's scary.
people not letting you over, people are cutting
It's
you off.
chaotic. It's
just
scary.
All this traffic comes together. Like, what happened that day?
Well, before I get into the details of what I can remember what happened that day, during the pandemic, one thing that I realized what I lacked as a creative in my home space. I didn't have a controller, but I did have turntables, but I didn't have an updated mixer. Because Serato and
Right.
technical
Things
updates,
have changed.
advancement and technology. There's so much going on. Like they got a new operating system called Big Sur. I just found that out a week ago. I didn't know
always
that.
something new.
It's like,
Always something.
come on, just calm down right quick.
Right.
So I realized that I didn't have a studio set up at my house. That's what I lacked. I didn't have the interface. I didn't have the mic. I didn't have anything. And I literally, before I started making some money and before I started, I'm not ashamed to say it, before I started receiving unemployment, I was selling stuff out my closet. I was selling shoes, babe that I don't wear no more. It's like little hype beast stuff that these kids will still rock. Cool, get a cool little 150. So I'm sharing this with you guys because the story that people don't know is that I was on my way to sell a babe hoodie for $200 to some little kid.
That's where you.
I was headed to I was headed to Vermont and something, literally, just to go get some money to go fund my studio.
Wow.
That's a story that people don't know.
Wow.
So you're on your way to.
You're on your way
To fund my studio.
Yeah, what you do.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, literally, I was trying to get over. I couldn't get over. I wanted to get over. I got over one lane, and I seen a baby blue Beamer just flying. I said, all right, I'm not going to do it. And so I have my signal on to go to the left. I like turn my wheel and then I stay in my lane. I don't go all the way over. He was going so fast that he thought I was coming over to the lane. And he lost control and he ran in the back of my truck. My truck lost control. Of course, I'm pressing the brake.
Mm-hmm.
My truck hits another car, I believe. My car flips over. Like the whole time, I'm like, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I can't even say nothing else. I'm just saying, Jesus, 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 Jesus. Stops. My whole windshield caved in. Stuff from the back seats flying to the front.
That's crazy.
I had my seatbelt on. Thank God I had my. It would have been a wrap if I didn't have my seatbelt on. Stop. Trying to move. Oh, I got my seatbelt on.
Right.
Seatbelt won't come off. Then it comes off. I'm literally trying to find my bearings. I'm trying to unlock the door. The door won't open. The door is jammed in. So I'm like, all right. And I could hear oil leaking.
Oh my gosh.
I could hear oil leaking. And so like I'm like trying to punch the door and it opens. Keep in mind the car's upside down. And I literally climb out the car and I just walk away from it. I got glass. I had glass lodged in this middle finger right here. That was it.
That's my worst fear, is to be in a car that overturns on the freeway. Like you said, the only thing going through your mind is Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. So you're praying basically.
Basically. And I had no other words. I had no other words. It happened so fast. And I literally, like, the way it happened and the way that the truck looked, after the fact, it was a moment for me to realize that, the favor on my life is real.
Right.
If I ever questioned it, I never questioned it.
Yeah.
When things, as a believer, when things don't go your way, or when people trespass you, or when things do you wrong, I think it's just a real moment for you to grow. It don't got nothing to do with you besides you being able to grow. And I think a lot of people don't realize that if you have the moment to grow, it's not gonna be comfortable.
It never is.
You can't grow in your comfort zone, can you?
You can't grow in your comfort zone.
So there's a little, spirit inside of me that just reminds me that when I get to these kind of moments in my life, that growth was pushing you forward. So don't really be discouraged. So that anybody out there that is going through any type of hardship or hard time, just understand that growth is for your good. There is no other way to evolve into the best version of yourself without going through some growing pains.
There's no way around it.
You can't.
No way around it.
So with this accident, it was just a lot that just happened. I didn't leave in an ambulance. People pulled over. People was like, "Are you good?" I was like, "Yeah, I got God. I'm good. I'm just walking. I'm on one, adrenaline just running. I'm just walking in circles. The other cars on a lanes over, so it's not like I could run up on them. The police came, fire truck came. They was like, "You need to get in the firefighter." I'm like, "I'm good." I didn't know I could have got like 10 G's for it. That's another story.
Like, damn it.
Yeah. But I was like, nah, but that's the testimony.
Yeah.
That's the testimony. That's the testimony. So, I'm giving a police report, blah, 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 blah. Luke pull up, you know what I'm saying? I literally had spoke to him probably like 10 minutes before it happened.
Wow.
So he's like, nigga, what?
Right.
He's just pulling up.
I know he saw that car.
Like,
He's
see
like,
the car.
dog,
I remember
what?
seeing photos on Instagram, and for anybody listening at home right now or listening, if you go on to the YouTube and see these pictures, as soon as I saw it and saw that you had actually posted these pictures, I'm like,
God
what?
was on his side.
This car is done.
God was in the car.
Yeah.
It was
Jesus took the wheel.
Literally.
Jesus took the wheel.
Literally. So it was Luke's idea for me to before I went public, it was Luke's idea for me to write the testimony. He said share it on medium.com. He said, just this is your narrative, this is your account. I'm not gonna let you incriminate yourself because it's an open case, but you know, just put it all right there. And at one point I had to get my younger frat brother Matt to write the actual accident part because I couldn't write it.
Yeah.
And I put it on medium.com and we put it in my bio. And then the day that I posted it, it was hard to press share.
I bet.
Let's back up a little bit. So that happened on Friday, May 8th, 2020, 12:42 p.m. It's a story that other people don't know. I had to DJ Howard University's virtual commencement.
Right.
That following Saturday morning at Terrence J's house. Fresh out of an accident.
That's crazy.
Wrist. Only thing that was like really injured, my wrist was just sprained from holding the steering wheel. Mm-hmm. That's it. Wrist was just sprained. They didn't even give me like they was like you, and it healed up. It healed up in like a week and a half, whatever. But I'm still on adrenaline. I'm literally doing an Instagram live set for the class of 2020 because we're in a pandemic. And I'm literally doing this. This isn't just me doing it. I'm doing it with the university. I'm doing it with student affairs. Like, it's a real thing. Like it's ain't just Jae Murphy. Nah, I was literally a part of the commencement. I was a part of the event.
Right.
Fresh out of accident. Nobody knew that.
Crazy.
How did you?
Because I didn't announce that I was in an accident until the following
After
Monday.
The fact.
Yeah. Nobody knew that. Nobody knew that.
Nobody knew you had. I know. I think when you posted it, it said something about it was a few days ago or something, and I was like,
nobody knew.
what?
I still performed for Howard. That's how much love I got for that
Talk
school.
about overcoming adversity.
That's how much love I got for that school.
Think about the name of this podcast too, like I survived 2020. Like you literally survived 2020
during the pandemic.
During the pandemic. So when I finally pressed, like I was in tears when I pressed share.
I'm sure.
I was in tears when I pressed shared. And it was a lot of people that I needed to tell beforehand.
Right.
It was a lot of people that I just like, yo, I just want you to know I was in a near fatal car accident. I'm good. I'm recovering. I just wanted you to know before the internet told you. Mm-hmm. It was several people that I needed to tell that because some people would have lost their entire mind seeing that picture. And the interesting thing about dealing with this experience in the middle of a pandemic, I learned that, I learned that in the moment of going through a very, very, very hardship time, a real tough time, you're not the only one going through things.
That's true.
And so it wasn't like I had this accident and it wasn't a pandemic.
Right.
I had this accident in a pandemic, and it's some people that I thought would have reached out to me that didn't, and I couldn't even feel away.
Right.
Because I had to think outside myself. In the middle of my pain, I had to think outside myself because, like,
everybody was dealing with something. Everybody was dealing with something.
I just survived a car accident, but their uncle just died from COVID.
Right. That's really like a sign of maturity to even think like that, because
I was forced to because we were living in a pandemic. We didn't know what the next week held. Yep. We didn't know nothing. We
didn't know what people
we was standing in lines outside of Ralph's like
toilet paper
for weeks.
We didn't even know if we could get toilet paper.
We didn't even know. Like, it was so everything was such uncertain. A question mark.
Everything was uncertain. But what was certain is you made it out of this accident.
Made it out.
Yeah, I made it out by the grace of the supreme favor and grace of God.
Right. So now you got a podcast.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Jae Murphy and Friends.
Jae Murphy and Friends. Oh, man. Jae Murphy and Friends digital series. Big shout out to my co-host, Mark Mogul. Hampton.
Hey.
Full circle.
This is Hampton niggas can't leave you alone.
You love it. You love
Hampton
it.
niggas will not leave you alone, man. Like,
Hampton's all over the place.
You love it.
they will not leave you alone. So this digital series was actually created by Luke. Luke was just like, look, bro, there's only so much virtual money we're gonna get you as a DJ.
Yeah.
I need people to know that you can actually speak very well. A lot of people don't know you have a degree in broadcast journalism, you know, and you got a background in radio. Like, a lot of people don't know, like, you,
Yeah,
like, so he's like,
Uh-huh.
I need you to up your readership and your viewership just so we can diversify your portfolio, you know. So I'm like, all right, what we gonna do? How we gonna do it? So we went through so many different moments of trying to record the intro. The intro took like 2 months. I ain't gonna lie, because of scheduling.
It was worth every moment because it is amazing. It's super funny.
If you're a fan of what was that 90s, right?
Yeah.
Family Matters.
Yeah, Family
Matters.
Yeah.
The show from the 90s. If you're a fan of that show, you're gonna love this intro. It's hilarious.
So
creative.
So we dubbed this as a digital series because it's not gonna just be a podcast. Let's just manifest it on this podcast that Jae Murphy and Friends will actually like evolve into like a late night show.
You have the perfect personality for it.
Yeah,
it's like you're made for it.
Yeah, but so thank you so much. So Jae Murphy and Friends will also be a moment for me to like, I can one day I might make it look like Rap City. You know, one day I may make it look like 106 in Park. Like, I'm like, it being a digital series, there's so many things that I can do. Right. So when the intro came on, so many people was like, oh, this nigga got a show.
That's what I thought.
This nigga got a show.
I thought. I was like, Jae Murphy.
Oh no, I gotta watch this. One day, I'm telling you right now.
Really well.
One day, it will be a show. Like, one day after, it's gonna be a full sitcom. Like, I'm gonna have.
I know.
You heard that here.
Yeah.
Jae Murphy.
One day it's gonna be a show with all your favorite YouTube, Instagram. It's gonna look like, oh, this nigga about to be yeah. Like we're gonna do it.
We can't wait, man. I just want to say thank you for joining us and sharing.
Thank you for having me. I think this was very therapeutic. Coming out of the pandemic.
You give me chills. Like, your storytelling skills are really good too. You tell really good stories.
Thank you very much.
No, we are rooting for you.
We're proud of you, man.
See Jae Murphy and Friends, and you're a walking testimony and
Amen.
inspiration.
Amen.
A huge talent. Amazing personality, so many different things. My HBCU brother.
Yes, ma'am.
You went to the other one.
Oh, here we go.
It's okay.
And we can't wait to get to shows, getting back in tours, and seeing you on that big stage.
Yeah,
with
for sure.
Definitely.
With Jason and everybody else you work with. Can you tell everybody where to find you on social media?
Please find me on social media at JaeMurphy. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook,
everything.
Twitch, TikTok, all of that. What's next? We got some music coming for you.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, the studio's done, by the way.
Nice.
It looks like a jungle. The mission is complete. That was my passion project. I'll definitely send you pictures.
Yes.
No, we want to come out and check it
Yeah,
out.
pull up.
We're
Pull up.
We're gonna pull up.
Yeah, y'all. But when y'all see it, y'all gonna be like, you know what? That accident planted a seed into like, you gonna see, you appreciate it.
Before we get out of here, did you ever get your $150 for the sweatshirt you were going to sell?
I did. I got it off. I got it off.
There we go. I Survived 2020. Jae Murphy in the building. Rhea B in the building. This has been a dope episode, man.
I'm glad. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Come back. We want to keep.
We can run it back.
And then when you come back, you know what you got to rock, right?
Oh, don't you worry.
There we go.
Don't you worry. Yeah.
Jae Murphy. I Survived 2020. It's been another good episode.
We're out.
Yeah.
Legendary.
How